Hey guys, it's been a while since I had a scope video for you, and boy do I have a good one for you today. So this is Discovery Optics HD Gen 2 5 to 30 times 56 SFIR 34mm. Quite a mouthful. So first, full disclosure, this scope was sent to me by Discovery and I get to keep it, but other than that they had no influence in this review. So let's just get on with the review. In the box you will get, of course, the scope in this really nice foam. You can actually store the scope also with the end caps on it, but the rings, if you have the rings on, it will not fit. So in the box you will also get some quality checklist. You will get some specification checklist and some user manual and a cloth for cleaning your lenses. Other than that, you also get a sunshade. It's, I don't know, roughly 80 millimeters long, I would say. And you get an Allen key for adjusting your turrets. We will need this afterwards when I show you the zero stop. And you also get these mounts which come in this box, and you actually get two spare screws. One just fell out, but here they are. So two spare screws and Torx key to be able to fit them and adjust them. So basically that's what you get in the box. Now let's just get to the actual scope. So of course, as applied by the name, this is a scope with 5 to 30 times magnification. The 56mm is the diameter of the front lens, and the 34mm is the diameter of the tube. Now, having a 34mm tube is an excellent choice, and of course it does bring the price of the scope up a little bit, but the main benefit is just huge amount of adjustment of the turrets. And this scope is in that regards really nice, because it actually has 33 milliradians of elevation adjustment. The windage, it has 17, which is plenty. So really nice for long range shooting, either for firearms or for air guns. The Parallax wheel goes down to 25 yards, so it's perfectly okay for the, let's say, shorter range for airgun use, let's say, and of course up to infinity. It has a reticle illumination, which is really nice because it's a logarithmic scale of the illumination brightness. So basically it goes from 1 to level 6, and it has off in between each this step. So this is really nice because you can select your favorite illumination, and you have the off always next to the level that you select. The scope comes with this removable rear cap, and the front one is actually a flip up. Personally, I really like this. I'm not a fan of having a flip up in the back, because I usually don't have anything in the back, but in the front I like to have something, mainly because I store everything vertically in my closet, the guns, and I do get dust on the front lens if I don't have this cap. So the magnification is adjustable, of course, as I mentioned, from 5 to 30. This wheel is a bit stiff, but you have an options to remove screw and add a tool, or whatever you call it, a tool that will help you move the wheel easier. It also has, of course, adjustment for your eye, and of course, obviously it has adjustment for elevation and windage. These are not lockable, so they are free to move. They cannot be locked, and they're really nice chunky size. I love that because it's so easy to adjust, and the adjustment on this is just perfect. Just listen to this. I will put close to the mic. They are really precise, and they actually lock in place, and they are just the right amount of force is needed to be to move them. So I really like the adjustment. I cannot say enough good about adjustments. There is also a zero stop, and it's really easy to set. All you do is use the Allen key that is provided in the box. You have to remove the elevation turret in order to access this. So once you are at zero, all you need to do is loosen this screw. So again, you have to be at your zero at the point, so at the lowest point of your setting when you do this. Okay, so once you've loosened all three of the screws, just place it fully down and fully towards right. So you can see that there is a protruding part here that stops it, and just move it to that point and then just tighten all three screws again in that position. And then reinstall your turret, but this time you have to pay attention that you put it on the zero, because that is your 0 point. And tighten all 4 screws. Okay, done. Now you can go to, as much as you want up. You can see that you can go more than 1 revolution up, but when you will be getting down, at this point, it is locked. You cannot go further down. So really nice feature to have. So let's get a little bit to optics, tracking, etc. First of all, this scope really surprised me in terms of the image quality, particularly because of its price range. This scope is not expensive. It's somewhere roughly from $400 to $500, depending where you buy it. You can even get it for less, for $360 or something like that. So really cheap scope, cheap but really high quality. The optics on this surprised me. I can honestly say that at full magnification there are more than 2 to 3 times higher price scopes have this clarity of image. The only downside of this scope in terms of clarity that I found is at maximum wide, so at 5x magnification, where you do get slightly distorted and less sharp image closer to the edge. But that is basically true for any scope that has this high magnification range, so that it goes to such low magnification and still goes to as high as 30x. So this is kind of vice versa than what you typically see in other cheap scopes, when in 5x, so at wide, the image is really nice, but when you zoom in, it gets really dark and really not sharp anymore. It's not the case for this scope. This scope is flawless at full magnification. Maybe another thing that I would mention where I would see slight difference between a scope that is in this price range and a more expensive scope is finding your perfect eye relief and perfect position for your eye. So I would say that more expensive scope maybe have a little more tolerance there, and this one you have to be quite precise. But when you find it, the image is perfect and sharp. So really nice optics. Hats off to Discover. They did a great product here. In terms of tracking, I really was also amazed. The return to zero position is without any deviation that I would find. I also checked the tracking at 25 meters to see how accurate the 0.1 milliradian clicks are. And you will see that at 25 meters, which is not the correct range to test this, but as you might have seen from previous videos, this is the standard what I do, because this is the only easy option that I have. So at 25 meters, it would require to have 4 clicks to move 1 centimeter on the grid, but it actually moves a little bit more. Now, this is never perfect in any of the scopes I've tested till now. It was never perfect. And also there is a possibility there is some lens breathing here, meaning that because I had to change the parallax to 25 meters instead of more standard 100 meters or close to 100 yards, let's say, it would be better at that point. So it was the 4 clicks were always a little bit more than the 1 centimeter shift that you will see on the target. And you cannot even see this when I move for 4 clicks, so meaning just 1 centimeter, but when you multiply this, it gets a lot more, and you will see this. But re-zeroing is perfection. And also the matching hashes on the reticle, they correlate to the clicks, meaning that the 1 click is always so 10 clicks is always actual 1 milliradian on the grid as well of the reticle. So the reticle is really nice. I like this kind of reticles. I'm not an expert in reticles, but it's just let's say a good combination of having a lot of option and also not being too busy that it would actually distract your background. And the combination of how the reticle looks and the amount of it that is illuminated is also really nice. I personally, you may know me from my videos, I don't use illumination that much, and I particularly don't like really high levels of illumination, because you kind of get this glaring effect on the image. And the only illumination that I ever use is if I shoot at really low light, and I use minimal amount of illumination along to just to really know where the reticle is. The reticle is just the right thickness, if you ask me. You might know that when it comes to first focal plane scopes, this is quite a challenge, because the reticle is staying the same size compared to your target always, meaning that when you change the zoom, it does get bigger when you zoom in and smaller when you zoom out. So if you have too small at 5 times, it might be so small that you cannot see it anymore, and vice versa. It can be too thick at 30x magnification. I would say that selection here is just right. So yeah, that's basically it. So the only downsides I can see on this scope, there are virtually none. There are virtually none. If you can say that the downside is that this ring is maybe a little stiffer than I would like, and also, by the way, is getting less stiff with use. So I imagine that really soon it will be just the right amount of stiffness. If you find as a disadvantage that the image is not perfect and wide angle, fine. I mean, I get it. And basically that's it. It tracks perfect, and combine this with lifetime warranty, and I believe they also have a warranty for the turrets working properly the whole period of the warranty, so a lifetime. So that's really, really nice. And there is one thing that I would like to also mention regarding the turrets, and that is the fact that in most scopes, when you turn and crank them fully in, which you shouldn't do, by the way, you feel that you have compressed that spring really tightly, but this one has a stop. So I'm perfectly comfortable going all the way, because the adjustment is perfect still here, and then it's full stop. So it's not like I compress spring fully. Spring still has some pad that it could be compressed, but it has reached its end position and it just stops it. and also the other way. So really nice thing to have such a, let's say, secure way of adjusting, and I really like it. I really like it. There is one more advantage over some other brands and some other scopes that I would mention. Most rifles, well, depending what you use, but for example, in air guns, a lot of air guns are, let's say, designed to not have such large scopes. This is a large scope, but if you consider what it can do and what it does, it's actually quite compact. But my point is, because they are designed for smaller scopes, they have the rail quite far to the back, and with scopes that have big eye relief and also have a large amount, so big distance between the rear end and the adjustment, it is sometimes a challenge to place the scope forward enough to still have the perfect eye relief and still that you're still on the rails of the gun. This scope has really short this distance from backside to the turrets, and because of that, it's much easier to fit in virtually all guns, because no gun has two forward rings, only too much to the rear is typical, let's say. So this is one of the nice, really nice feature. Maybe I can also mention the mounts. These mounts are, I would guess, high, and they are a Picatinny, and they are extremely high tolerance. And maybe one thing to pay attention is that this, so where this mount fits on the groove on the Picatinny rail, it has to be really precise also on the rifle. And some rifles has this cutout slightly smaller or oval. For example, Huben K1 has this, the old one, not the new one. They moved from that a long time ago. So basically, it can be a challenge to put on some of the rails. But again, I would like to emphasize that is a problem with the rifle, not the mounts, because these are according to standard, and that rifle is not, or those rifles are not, at least the rails. So yeah, that's it. I'm loving this scope. I will put some links below, but if the link doesn't work, because Discovery sells through Amazon, if the link doesn't work, just Google and search for anywhere else that you can find this model. So basically, I will put it on the screen: HD Gen 2, blah blah blah. And I definitely recommend, if this is your game, let's say, that you get this scope, because for this price range, it's just ridiculous what you're getting. So that's it from my side on this scopes. On this scope, you will be seeing this scope in a lot of my videos. I will have it on. I'm not sure which gun will have it. I have an idea yet, but I'm not sure. But you will see it in the future for sure, because this is a scope that I will be using all the time. That's for sure. So I want to thank Discovery for this opportunity, for sending me the scope, and I want to thank you for watching this video, and check out the links below, and see you in the next one.